So as we all know, Season 8 of Dexter is not very well received. This bitter end capped off one of the best shows on TV, and for nearly a decade after the show's finale, many pointed to this as being a terrible ending for such a beloved show. And as someone who saw this much later on streaming services and was able to binge this to my heart's content, I admit, it felt like such a steep and immediate decline, more so I feel like than had I watched it live. I wasn't eased into the progressively worse writing over the course of years and years. I was able to get through seasons 4 to 8 within the course of a month and some change. It was pretty jarring going from the absolute peak of Season 2's Dokes and Dexter rivalry and Season 4's demented insanity from the Trinity Killer to slowly but surely watching the writing fall off over the course of Seasons 5 and 6. Although I did enjoy 5, 6 was a bit of a slog for me, but it was looking much better going into Season 7. With a great season with much tension between Deborah and Dexter, a new dangerous love interest in Hannah, and a cunning, interesting villain in Serco, and various members of the Koshka Brotherhood. Then we had Season 8. Many of the storylines felt kind of anticlimactic, and introducing a new element to Dexter's origin story felt a little strange. Like, yes, throughout the show, we've dealt with Dexter working through his dark passenger, going from living for it, living with it, denying its existence, etc. And I feel like adding Vogel was unnecessary. The Deb PTSD plot was alright, I guess. While I didn't mind Zach as a character, I felt like adding a protege for Dexter was a bit stupid, as well as 90% of the brain surgeon stuff being really forced into the last two episodes. He was a really lame antagonist, like Lila from Season 2 was way more interesting. Then following the atrocious end, all hope seemed lost, until the announcement for Dexter New Blood, a sequel following Dexter going under the alias of Jim Lindsay, and while the majority of this season was alright for most, including myself, it fell apart again by the ending, leaving fans unsatisfied now for the second time. This brings me to the topic of today's video, what I want from Dexter Resurrection. Firstly, above all else, Dexter needs to have survived being shot by Harrison. If this ends up being a giant bait and switch with Harrison being the main character and Dexter as his Force Ghost, similar to what, Deb, Brian, and Harry were for Dexter, this won't go over well in the slightest. And with Michael C. Hall, how he's been in interviews, I'm nearly 100% certain that Dexter does survive. Secondly, while I don't want him leading the show, we need an update or continuation for Harrison's storyline. He ended New Blood leaving Iron Lake for good, but if news breaks and he finds out his father was alive, either he needs to come back or they need to do, a bit of a lame alternative, write him off screen for whatever reason as to why he's not coming back. But realistically, in all likelihood, we haven't seen the last of Harrison Morgan. And in the same vein as needing closure on Harrison's story, if we don't get the Dexter Batista reunion, honestly just cancel the whole show, because you don't know the audience that you're appealing to. These two have such an intense backstory, and seeing how Batista reacts and deals with seeing Dexter again face to face, especially now with him being found out by Angela and killing Logan, there's no more hiding for Dexter. People know he's a killer. Even if he can't be proven to be the butcher, he killed a cop, and there's DNA evidence to prove that. All this information present, and being able to link the deaths of his old friend and ex-wife to Dexter, this would drive Batista like no other, and honestly, the Batista v. Dexter rivalry could completely lead as the main plot for Resurrection. And before we get into the final thing I feel like we as fans need, I wanted to get into this one. Dexter needs to face justice. Whatever that means, Dexter is no hero. He's a serial killer and has killed innocent people. I'd honestly feel a little bit let down should Dexter get away with it again and again and again. New Blood showed us that still, Dexter can't help himself. And the reasoning for Harrison supposedly killing Dexter at the end of episode 10 was because Clyde Phillips said Dexter needed to be stopped and couldn't keep getting away with it. And if he is still alive, as I believe he is, he got away with it again, and by the end of Resurrection, he shouldn't get off scot-free. And of course, last but not least, the single most important thing I need from Dexter Resurrection is a satisfying ending. Granted, I'm no TV writer. This YouTube video here is my first real attempt at a script in general. So I don't know the first thing about how to write a satisfying conclusion to a beloved IP that's been going on since I was a toddler. And clearly neither do the writers. They botched it twice. Third time's the charm, and I have genuine hope for a good solid ending this time around, although I will be on guard the entire time. Because from what we have learned, is they can be on world record pace in the 100 meters, be in first place, and then right before they cross the finish line, shoot themselves in the foot and not even qualify. Basically what I mean is that we had 7 great seasons of TV that ate major shit at the end, and a season of New Blood that was pretty alright until it missed the landing by a country mile in the finale. I'm cautiously excited for this upcoming project, and Original Sin, which I will be making a video about soon. I genuinely am rooting for the show, and I have faith. Whether or not that faith is misplaced is left up to the TV gods, and I will be patiently waiting for it. Until then, expect a lot more videos from me. This is my first one, so any critiques or compliments in the comments, we greatly appreciate it, and I will see you guys later.